Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Talk Scottish Football, episode number 44. Stephen McManus. He wore 44 for a while.
Paul Watson wears 44 at
Do you know, for years, Steve McManus was my idol. Absolute idol of a man. I wanted him shut on the back of my shirt. But anyway, we're back. It's been a very interesting weekend once more. I'm sure a lot of people are clicking on to see my reaction to the game yesterday if you haven't already. We're brought to you by Mostro Clothing, of course. Make sure to check out the top line in the description. Giveaway still able to enter for your chance to win.
It's a cracker, by the way, isn't it?
Good wee goodies.
You'd be buzzing if you won that. You know what's annoying me is if I end up winning it, everyone's be like fix, and I'm probably expect me to be like, just do it again. Aye. Just if I get drawn at the winner, I'm not. I'm taking it all. It's a cracking giveaway. Get involved.
400 quid worth of stuff.
It saves Christmas, doesn't it? You just like.
I mean, it's been a poor Christmas time for me. It's only a matter of 2 years ago I was sitting in the stands of Celtic Park chanting "This year to save me from tears, I'll give it to Brendan Rodgers."
I was singing the same about Kevin Nisbet last year. So
and look, I'm not being saved from tears. The tears keep flowing, so let's jump right into it. Yesterday, we'll start off, try our best to keep it as minimal as possible. And by the way, I may as well quickly add, we are currently waiting for the World Cup qualifying draw.
Look at the skyscrapers in the background that are currently showing us the playoff scenes, which is fun.
Beautiful. So we're waiting to. There's a big Shane Duffy there.
Player.
But we're going to find that out hopefully during the show to see how Scotland take on in those qualifiers. But until then, we're going to talk about the club football. Celtic won, St Johnstone won. Did it come as a surprise to you? I mean, it was only 2 weeks ago you sat here and you said a run of 15 games will be paper over the cracks. If anything, we have added more cracks to the cracks.
Yeah, I mean, I never said that Celtic would turn it around. I said they'd win these games, but it would still be, the situation would still be dire. I didn't expect them to go and get beat off Ross County and then draw with St Johnstone. I don't even know. They're so devoid of ideas. They don't have a clue what they're doing.
No, they don't. Have you seen the videos and the photos of the team on the park? Like the actual setup,
the shapes.
The shapes. The video at half time, I don't know if you've seen it, Edouard and Frimpong walking off the park. And Edouard is just looking at Frimpong. Number one, they don't look like teammates. They look as though they've been playing together for 5 minutes. And Edouard simply just shrugs his shoulders. It's like when the half-time whistle goes, he doesn't know what's going on. And it really just epitomises everything that has been wrong with Celtic so far this season.
I know, it's just dreadful, isn't it? They're absolutely awful.
You made a couple of interesting points before we went on there, in fact, that I quite like. Don't know if you remember them now, but involving the managerial status.
Oh yeah, so like I've said I was in the Lennon out brigade for a good couple of months before I had to convert you first, and then for months it's been obvious to me, and I think to a lot of people, that Celtic weren't going to be the side that they have been with Neil Lennon continually at the helm. I've said for weeks, if they change the manager now, they've still got a chance. If they change the manager now, they've still got a chance. They can turn it around. I said last show I was on that the league's done, and I still firmly believe that, no matter what happens. I forgot
my next question as well. If it's not already, how far away do you think we are from the league being finished?
The only way that Celtic could turn it around, and this is what I said before we came on air, is if they appointed a top coach today, won the games in hand, went to Ibrox and won. Then it's 3 points to the gap. And that's all if buts and maybes, and it's a massive gamble because you're not even factoring into how well Rangers are doing just now.
Yep.
So if everything goes, if the perfect situation happened for Celtic overnight, you get a good manager in, they win the games in hand, they go on a run, win at Ibrox, 3 points, right? That's the ultimate, as good as it can get for Celtic. You're still reliant on Rangers making an arse of it, and I don't think that's going to happen.
And right now, I know they have dropped points twice this season, both in firmly difficult games. They do not look like a team who are going to drop points anytime soon. So as you said, Celtic are relying on that sort of safety net that Rangers will slip up. Doesn't look as though it's going to happen. What annoys me is it took 83 minutes and a goal behind for Celtic to show any form of fight. If you cannot break these teams down and then you cannot defend against them, it is a toxic combination, and it's been the story of the season so far. We are void of all ideas, as you've mentioned. We are void of key players. I think right now you look at the likes of Forrest being gone. A point that I thought was fantastically raised yesterday in the Super Scoreboard, which sums up pretty much everything about Neil Lennon and his sort of knowledge of the sport as a manager. In the summer window and in the January window beforehand, why has he let go of Johnny Hayes, Marian Shved, Scott Sinclair? He doesn't want to give. No, my point will come in a minute, and he's not giving Johnson a chance when he's fit, right? Yeah. I'm not saying these guys are world beaters and single-handedly with them in the team we would then start to turn things around. But why has he let all of these wingers go or not giving them chances to then replace them with no wingers?
Yeah.
When wingers has been one of the most fundamental parts
of Celtic's tradition, isn't it? Yeah, flying wingers. Yeah, the Sinclair one I said at the time I thought it was baffling because it's 15-20 goals a season regardless. Even when he wasn't playing well in his final season when he was in the team, I don't think he was playing as well as he had done in his first year, but he was still scoring goals.
Yep.
Forrest gets slagged rotten all the time by Celtic supporters. 15 goals a season. chances created. Mikey Johnson has looked really bright when he's had the chance. But I think it's not even as much about the wingers. Lennon doesn't seem to give chances to guys like Sorrow's a brilliant example. Why isn't he getting a game?
On a positive note, we've seen Turnbull come on.
Yeah, exactly. But why is it taking so long? I remember putting a tweet up about Turnbull 3 months ago.
Yep.
Where is he? You know, why is he not playing? And Lennon has come out today. Was it today or yesterday? And said that he's not fit.
This is the exact point we're going to now. Please break down for me. Griffiths and Turnbull have to get fit.
When have you ever seen a team, right, where there's numerous players in that team that aren't fit and it's the player's fault? It's always because the coaching isn't up to standard. They're not doing enough. You know, Ronnie Dyler, when he came into Celtic, his big thing was we need to be fitter. Remember
he slaughtered the fitness levels under Lennon's first.
But they got fitter.
Right, yep.
They got fitter, and for all Dyler's faults in terms of maybe he was a bit naive tactically as a manager, the team were still a lot fitter than they are now. Rogers was another one that took them, a good few weeks. The fitness-wise was just a joke. They could. The Rodgers scored so many late goals. That's never a coincidence. You look at Klopp's Liverpool; he scores so many late goals because they're just simply fitter than the opposition.
Look, for me, if I was training for 4 months, I'd be an Olympic athlete now. And no joke. So
your lungs are too far gone.
What is going right? Your lungs are too far gone. But what is going on, Neil? Like, you've got to. If you're telling me players aren't fit after 4 months of training, the reason is spawning from one place, and that is yourself.
I can understand the Griffiths thing because Griffiths is quite clearly a bit of an
he lives a lifestyle.
Yeah, and you're never going to change it. I think managers, it's like Balotelli, they are what they are. Technically fantastic, you're never going to change them. But I think a lot of it, especially in Griffiths terms, it comes down to a lack of effort. I watch Celtic now, right, and see months ago people were saying Edward didn't try enough. He's not trying hard enough for me just now. I don't think he's doing enough.
I don't think anybody's trying.
I think Ryan Christie's trying. I think Cal McGregor's trying. I think Scott Brown's trying. And Ayer. Yeah, they're probably the 4 I'd say are really giving it their all. Laxalt's another one maybe as well, and even me Frank Baum, but there are plenty in that team that are not doing enough. Because
you're looking now at a position you seem like Griffiths. So let me. What did you think about Griffiths' claim yesterday in the papers?
Just idiot, isn't he? What? Just rip up his contract.
What
is the point?
Celtic have a better squad than Rangers. Not one Rangers player making the squad. Now it's all very well and good for me as a Celtic fan to sit here and still think that Celtic have a better squad in terms of the names there and the ability that they do possess. But there has been nothing this season that has shown that they can claim that.
If he'd have come out and said Celtic have a squad good enough to challenge Rangers for the title, I'd have gone, yeah, you're absolutely right, of course they do.
But the
squad is good enough to challenge. But it's all Griffith seems to do this season is talk. He starts to get back in the team, he's doing well, you think, right, he's finally back. He's back in the national team, great, he's doing well. Then he goes and says something on social media and it ruins everything. It's honestly, I've been on this show so many times and stuck up for Lee Griffiths, but what's even the point? Because he's not helping the people that are helping him. He needs to leave Celtic ASAP.
As well as Neil Lennon. Neil Lennon has to leave Celtic ASAP. He's already, some would say, tarnished.
Was it 2 wins in 12?
Yep, 2 wins in 12.
Relegation for him.
A dead rubber game on Thursday against Leo, which I can only presume will end in a mauling.
He'll play his full strength team though. He'll play Scott Brown from the start.
We'll get mauled.
What's the point?
And for me, Neil Lennon, and I agree with this statement that was said to me today. A good friend Ryan McGinley, shout out to Ryan, very good writer.
Very good editor.
Very good editor as well, very good editor. But what he said to me today was, for all the times that him himself, and I've said the exact same thing, for all the times that I have turned around and said I absolutely adore Neil Lennon, I love him, Celtic legend, he's going to ruin that. At this point, he's done everything to ruin it himself. If he knew what he was doing and if he really loved the club, he would have walked long ago. So why at this point should we still be giving him the whole, he's still a Celtic man, I still adore him? No, maybe it is at the point now where the patience of Celtic fans is warm to the thread that
this is just everything you're saying now is stuff I was saying 3 months ago. I get what you mean. It's difficult when you've got that emotional attachment to them, whereas I obviously don't have to Neil Lennon. So for me, it was pretty obvious months ago that he had to go.
Look, it's the same old story.
If you can survive this,
everything that we've said for the past few weeks concerning Celtic and Neil Lennon and his position as manager has not changed on this show. We've rehashed the same old stuff. It's the same on my channel. I feel like we're just repeating ourselves time and time again. Will it change? No, it won't. It's not going to change past that cup final. So what's the point even? What is the point anymore?
Yeah, I also said a few weeks ago that I said I'd be amazed if Peter Lawwell wasn't sounding out alternative guys to come in and manage Celtic, and I believe he will have been. I believe they will have been looking around to see can we get someone in. I think what's probably telling is they probably can't find anyone that's that's going to make a difference. I said it's a poison chalice. Who's going to take that job now? I mean, if you're Eddie Howe, right, you might have taken it 2 months ago. You're not taking it now.
No,
it's too far gone now. It would take an absolute.
It's not even just the fact of the position they find themselves in a league table and the mountain that seems, impossible.
Cloud over the club, isn't it?
It's the whole fact that if Eddie Howe sits down, he knows how good a manager he is, and he knows the level of player he expects. he must be looking at the team, the fitness and everything in that team now and go, I'm not going to turn that around anytime soon. I need a whole new squad if I am there. And that is not what Eddie Howe would want in a minute, and that's not what any manager would want in a minute. So I agree with you. I do think that there'll probably be people contacted. I think one of the main names that's now been shouted out just now is, what's his name, whatever, Old Cluj manager.
Yes.
Petrescu,
Dan Petrescu.
That's the one. Like, a lot of people shouting out him as well. But once again, will he look at this team just now and think, I can come in and make a sudden impact straight away?
Well, what I'll say is whenever I've seen Cluj, his teams are tactically very good, defensively normally very, very decent. Just coming back to that Lille game that's coming up, I think it was the last season Celtic went to Cluj and the final game of the group was won, and they gave young Robertson a chance in midfield. So that for me is exactly what they're doing Thursday. But give Sorrow a chance, give Turnbull. They won't do that. They'll play this because he's just desperate for a result, and it's the thing that bamboozles me about Lennon. He said after the Prague home game that the European run was done. So at that point, why are you continuing to play your strongest team every single
chances to players like Henderson, players like,
because he's desperate for a result, but the results aren't coming, and it's just
it's just a cauldron of disasters and different spice every.
And if you're Eddie Howe, you're on the Eddie Howe thing. If Eddie Howe takes this job and Celtic end up losing the league on goal difference in May, he'll have done a very good job, but he'll still be the manager that presided over Celtic losing the 10.
Do you think people would look at it like that, or do you
Some
think you
definitely would?
Or do you think, because me, from my point of view, whoever is the man who is in charge of Celtic come the end of the season, win the league or not, let's
take your point. If
we lose the league, for me, it will always be Neil Lennon's fault.
But he's then going into a summer next season where Rangers are champions, Celtic would start again, and he's at a club where the fans and the board are in like civil war, because the board will get the blame. The club will be taking money at the fans will be taking money at the club. Eddie Howe, why would you want to be a manager in that situation?
Exactly.
So even regardless if the fans say the manager's done a decent job, which by the way, if a Celtic manager came in tomorrow and finished 1 point off Rangers, that's a great job.
And it's crazy how my tone has changed towards it, because right now I agree with everything you're saying. I think you're spot on. I could not debate anything you're saying. But if you asked me 3 weeks ago about Eddie Howe and taking this job, I would have said he would snap it up if given the opportunity, because he knows it's a platform for him to get recognised by a club like Leicester, just like Brendan Rodgers did. But now
it's too late.
Now it's too late, because now he knows if he goes and loses that league title, if he goes and the Celtic team don't get fitter and they don't play for him, the attention of a Leicester dwindles away. So it's a really difficult scenario. But look, nothing's going to change and come Friday.
Poor old St Johnstone, by the way.
Because
Ross County had this last week.
That's 11 games now without a loss.
Absolutely
for St.
fantastic.
And you were big on
Callum Davidson.
What
a job he's doing.
I wasn't big on the appointment of Callum Davidson.
It would take time, because it was a culture change he had to do at St Johnstone. You know, Tommy Wright's team were hard to beat, they weren't pretty to watch, they ground out results. Now Callum Davidson's side have been doing that this season, but they've got that wee bit of flair. He's got Stevie May back playing and scoring goals. I mean, that's unlucky not to score yesterday. Yeah, and Stevie May unlucky not to score yesterday. Went very close.
Fair play to St Johnstone. They really deserve a lot of credit.
Same for Ross County.
Because yesterday, look, this is the thing. People who are optimists and people who will back Lennon until the very end, who are the few remaining, I would say, will talk about how yesterday we controlled the ball, we had the majority of possession, but the reality is St Johnstone knew what they were doing. They played the game. They waited for the naivety of the Celtic defence to slip up, and they took chance after chance that they could to get a shot on goal. And eventually their goal came through poor defending and through mistakes as normal from Celtic. St Johnstone played us like a fiddle.
And great Celtic teams have had results like this in the past. But in those games they might have lost 1-0 to a team in the league, but they'll have had 10-15 clear-cut chances, and it's just not your day, and it happens. Celtic are not having 10-15 clear-cut chances in these games just now. They don't know what to do when they get to the final third.
You've got a manager, as I said, toxic combination, a manager who cannot set up a defensive team, or and a manager who is struggling to break down defensive teams. You put that together, it's a disaster. But fair play to St Johnstone, fair play to come into Celtic Park and taking advantage of a team which are down and out at the moment, because you know what, a lot of people still would have backed Celtic to wipe the floor with them yesterday. I imagine there was a good few people who were going out to say Celtic will win 4 or 5-0 today, and I said it.
I wouldn't have thought that. But
I said it. Well, mate, if you check through Twitter, you see a amount of people thinking that. I even said in my preview, I will be stunned if we beat them. And now, as the numb Celtic fan that I am, I expect nothing from the upcoming games. Even if we win this cup final, I feel like it would be some cheek to celebrate.
So who's next in the league, incidentally?
I believe it could be St Mirren, but I could be wrong. I need to go and check. I'll have a look right now. So Celtic's next league game is Kilmarnock
at home.
Yep, Kilmarnock at home.
Deary me.
Yeah, you got. Well, I don't know when I was pulling St Mirren.
Yeah, money on Kelly, by the way, folks.
Yep, we've got Kilmarnock. Then we've got the cup final. Then we've got Ross County visiting.
Kelly's
again.
Such a horrible game to have just now.
You look at our next You look at our next 5 games in the league, our next 4 games in the league, sorry, and I will be stunned at this point if we get 1 win out of it. I will be stunned. It's great. So let's move on to the team who are high flying almighty at the moment, and that is Rangers at the top of the table. They extend their lead, of course, and well, Ross County, they would have been disappointed conceding 4 after what happened last week, but Rangers at the minute are so well drilled. They know what they're doing. The standards in coaching you can see clearly paying off.
It's just players that just are so like determined to get in the team, because Kemar Roof's a perfect example. Came in when Morelos was out the squad when he was rumoured to leave. Played the first few games, scored a couple of goals. Morelos got back in. Roof was out for a wee while. Roof in the past 3-4 weeks has been unbelievable.
Here's a question I want to pose to you in regards to this game. Right now, at this moment in time, is the best player in the Premiership James Tavernier?
Yes, of course it is.
What a player right now. What a player.
Clap that!
What a player.
Yeah, he's just player of the season at the moment. And if it's not him, it's Steve Davis for me, who I rave about constantly. But I mean, that first Rangers goal at the weekend is proof of why I love Steve Davis. He's got the ball middle of the park.
I don't know why I say he's got the balls.
He's got the ball in the middle of the park, and I think if that's Scott Brown at the moment, he's passing it back to his right back. Davis, we slip ball down the channel, plays in. I think it's Tavernier, plays in, he crosses for Roof or something like that. Yeah, but it's just that cutting edge in midfield that he's got, and he's been absolutely brilliant. But all over the Rangers didn't even get a penalty at the weekend. They still won 4-0. There goes your SFA conspiracy.
Goal, they got an own goal.
Yeah, of course. And Ross County clearly lying down, you know.
But
a lot of Chris Sutton came out and said that. That'd be really good.
But it's one of those ones again for me. Look how much, and it suits. We've said it suits Rangers right to a T. But in regards to this game, how much do we actually need to say about Rangers? Because it's the same thing every week, and it's the same thing every week in such a positive note, because it's just perfect stuff they're playing at the minute. Another clean sheet, 4 more goals. At the minute, there's not much to add to Rangers apart from stupendous.
Jermaine Defoe, 800 club appearances in his career, unbelievable, and a 90th minute goal. The best natural finisher in Scotland by a country mile. Fantastic! What a pro! What a professional!
No Griffiths now.
If you're any manager in the world, you'd love a Jermaine Defoe in your squad. Just an experienced head who.
Imagine he was 10 years younger, man.
But and the thing is, every time he plays, he seems to score. He very rarely does. I can't remember what the stat was, but his goals to starts ratio is unbelievable. And if you're Gerrard, you're just delighted to have him in the squad. And we talked earlier. You said earlier about how nobody's talking about Rangers and how nobody's talking about Steven Gerrard. Whereas last season, every second week we were talking about a Gerrard press conference. He's grown as a manager. He's learning. You can see it as clear as day. I've said on this show ever since we started, I think every single year he's progressed Rangers, and it's even more evident now because the big criticism of him last season are just not there now, and they are just such a good side. And it will take. For all I said, if Celtic get a great manager in and win the league, it's going to take a massive capitulation for Rangers not to win this league title.
Yep. The question is will they, for the first time in since coming back to this league, show the bottle to keep that going and not capitulate? But you could put your house on it.
The thing is, they won't even have to because there's no pressure on them.
Exactly, there's nothing there yet.
It seems like it's going to take a massive effort for Celtic to even put pressure on them. Never mind to win the league.
It's just the form table is incredible. It's unbelievable.
And you've got a squad of like 20 players there who are all in form. Yep. There's not one player that isn't in form.
You look to their bench, and you look who's coming off it, and you look how they're playing, and you think there's not a bad sub to be made. Honestly, fair play to Rangers for the improvement this season. Ross County, did you see the whole Garlandine incident?
I'm not sure what actually happened. I'm guessing there was. I don't know what. Does anyone know what he said?
No one, I think, knows definitely.
But as an ex-Celtic youth,
but you could probably see what has been said. You could probably tell by the reaction of the players on the park what has been said.
Just a bit silly, isn't it?
A bit silly to give it off, and I'm sure there will be disciplinary measures put in place. But I mean, another win for Rangers, and let's be honest, it's not going to stop.
Champions elect.
Soon. Champions elect, huh? It's mad that we've got to this point, because for as much as people love to clip the things that I said at the start of the season, right? And I'll give it, I'll give it you. I'll give it you.
If you want some,
if you want some, I'll give it you. I'll give it to them, right? Fair play. I have been proven an absolute bam, to say the least. And fair enough, you clip me all you like, but when you look at the position I was in when we sat to make those videos, you would never have seen this coming. Never have seen
Not to the extent, no.
No. You maybe, right, you know what, if Rangers were top of the league by a point or so, fair enough, right? But the fact that Celtic's capitulation has happened the way it has, and Rangers have went on to be what is now looking the best team in Scotland, you would have never seen it coming by the end of last season, start of this season, never in a million years. So yes, I have been proven a bam, but it's the way that it has
happens to the best of us.
It's exceeded every expectation I had of this season.
The 30th trending video on YouTube today.
Aye.
Profiting off his own club's downfall. An absolute disgrace.
The thing I put in the chat yesterday was at least I'll make £100 but aye, there we go. Celtic drawing and Rangers winning emphatically once more. So let's head around the league. So let's go with the biggest shock of the weekend. St Mirren 1, Aberdeen 1.
I think that's the biggest shock of the weekend?
Yeah, I would say so.
I think it was at New Douglas Park.
Well, I suppose actually, aye, you could say it was at New Douglas Park. I suppose Brian Rice has got a wee bit of something to strap.
How the hell are like Hamilton seemed absolutely dead and buried, and I know they're probably still favourites. I still think they'll go down, but
they created chances, man.
They are getting themselves into a position where they might survive again. I still think they'll go down.
But you know what the thing is about Hamilton is they played their cards right in this game, and they've done something they've not been able to do all season.
Keep a clean sheet.
Well, that is well, yeah, that is a big part as well. But I think there's been a couple of occasions this season we've sat down and go, if there's a team that can't capitalise on the 10 men per performance sides, they're going to go down. It
happened at Rugby Park in this reverse fixture. Kelly were down to 10 in the first half and won 3-1.
3-2,
something like that.
Anyway, but in this game, they capitalise on a 10-man team and they go and win the game, and that's what exactly they need to do if they want to stay up this season, and they've done it here. So fair play to Hamilton, fair play to
Dicamona's first game back from injury, and he was
How do you think
off.
Hamilton fans will be feeling towards do you think that this is I don't have any sort of contact with the Hamilton academical world. I don't know how many fans they actually have, but in terms of, do you think they would be happy that this is Brian Rice turning his fortunes a bit, or do you think they want him still?
They all want him gone still, and it's amazing that he's still there, to be perfectly honest. But Hamilton are what they are. They are going to cling on to anything they can get, any result they can get.
That is massive for them. What happened with the statement last week, and the fact that St Mirren have been handed a 3-0 loss, that pushes Hamilton on a wee bit. Yeah,
it gives them a bit of hope, and obviously they've capitalised on that. What I think this result is proving is that Hamilton are not going to be bottom by like 15 points. They're not going to be like a Derby County were in 2008 down south. Yep. They're not going to be that far off. They will be there or thereabouts.
They've already gathered 11 this week.
Still think they'll go down, but they're going to fight for it, and fair play to them for getting the result of the weekend.
Kelly, do you think the reaction, or do you think that the statement last week had a form of an impact on how they played?
I don't know. I mean, 10 men you're supposed to get beat, and they've been quite good with 10 men this season. So I think it's because I think especially in the reverse fixture they won with 10 men, people probably expect them to still do it. It's hard to judge that game when they're down to 10 men for such a long period of time.
Thoughts on Darren Bent?
Just
player, wasn't he? How about the beach ball?
He was good on FIFA 13.
That's how you're reviewing a player?
Yeah.
How good they were in FIFA?
Yeah, he was
best
good
goal in Premier League history, man, against you all.
Actually a foul too, shouldn't have counted. I didn't know that was actually a rule if a ball hits an outside object.
It was big at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know, but it's just
mad. Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on to what I thought was the shock of the weekend, and that was Aberdeen dropping points at St Mirren. But I guess
they got beat there.
The week before, but I thought this would have been the perfect opportunity for them to bounce back, get a wee bit of revenge. Who scored the goal though for Aberdeen?
Well, I wish Kieran was here for this.
Exactly, that's been perfect.
People are going to think we've bagged Kieran.
I know people are, he's gone, he's not.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. Just, it's a hard world to get out and about when you're in tier 4.
Of course.
A lockdown world. So, Aberdeen St Mirren 1-0. Johnny Hayes gets the goal. Why did we let him go, man? I wish he was still here. He's still scoring goals. Lewis Ferguson sent off.
I know, he gets back in the team and you're thinking, right, this will be Aberdeen back to it now. They didn't have him last week. Comes back in, sent off. Alright, Lewis. Fair play, mate.
Still the best young player in Scotland?
Best what?
Young player in Scotland?
Yes.
I think so. Just asking.
One of them.
I don't think that's right.
You know what annoys me when you people class young players. Sometimes the age they go is like 23, but for me a young player is younger than that. I think 23. It was like you're kind of hitting your.
Do you remember when Raheem Sterling won
young
player of the year
ridiculous.
At age 23?
He's played like 7 seasons in the Prem.
Get yourself to France, man.
Yeah, but St Mirren, Jim Goodwin, I backed him all season to kind of turn it around. And I know he would have probably preferred if the win was in the league and this result was in the cup. But it is what it is. St Mirren will stay up this season.
Yeah, they will. I think they will. It's such a St Mirren have been such a wee hooer, man.
They were unlucky not to win.
You don't know what to expect from them. Knickers up, knickers down. They've been all the other.
That
was a lovely way to put it.
25 shots, 12 on target. They were really unlucky not to win the game too. So they're starting to get a wee bit of something back, a wee bit of fight there, and they will survive.
25 shots does sound like a whore. Right, anyway, moving on. I can see your face.
Let's go to the Tony Macaroni.
Do you know what I think is great before we move on? The fact that every time I have ever made a reference to some sort of dirty joke, you just love to remind your family that watch the show.
It's not my gran that jars me about these things.
Livingston, Dundee United obviously in a situation that was very unfavourable.
Still able to put out a really decent team though.
So many players.
They could have been.
If Shanklin can't score in these games, when will he score?
Pish, mate.
He's rotten. He's actually rotten. Like, why for years were we bumming him up?
I told you last season he was not as good as Kevin Nisbet.
And I agreed with you. I didn't dispute that. I knew that there was a difference between the two players, and I wasn't exactly confident that Shanklin would come up to the top league and bag them in.
It comes down to the fact, and it's something I said all along, last season he was getting 5 chances a game. This season he might not get 1 in a game. Right. And he's not going to create them himself. You know, he's not going to run 40 yards of the ball and stick one in the top corner. You know, he relies on goals in the penalty box. Yeah, he's struggling for form. But that United team, when I saw the team lines come in, because obviously it was a bit of a mystery who the 9 players were going to be, and they still were able to manage to field a really decent team. But Livy, what a couple of weeks they've had. David Martindale in temporary charge. What a job he's doing. Looks like he's going to get the job.
They're getting away with murder, man.
They are, because they're still in the top 6.
Kilmarnock had the chance to go and tie points, so they'll move above them in the table, in fact, with the goal difference standings, and yet they still bugging it up, man.
St Johnstone are coming for them up.
Yep, they are. I think St Johnstone will be up there this season now.
But Livy, what a great result for Livy. David Martindale got the job temporarily.
I think got the job on the technicality of a legend who recommended it.
I think when he got the job temporarily, I don't think anyone really imagined he'd take it permanently, but he's now making it very difficult for the Livy board to say no to him. He's come out publicly and said he wanted it. Obviously,
he's draw started. Sorry to interrupt you. It looks as though England have been drawn into Group I. For
yes, but it's the pot 1 teams. We're not.
We'll keep updated though.
We're too small time. So we want Group 1.
Yeah, we're not small time. We're big time.
We want Group 1.
Who was it? WrestleMania big time? That was it. Was it big time? WrestleMania 22.
What was it?
The wee hook for it. It was like WrestleMania 22 big time.
I can't remember. I have no idea. Stop interrupting my Livy chat, please. I'm trying.
Sorry.
Tell everyone how good David Martindale is. Obviously, a bit of a controversial period in his life about 10 years ago. He's obviously bounced back from that. I don't know if you're aware of this. I'm not going to bring it up now, but I'm not aware at all. Some people watching will know. And he's now in a position where he might get the Livy job full time, and absolutely fair play to him. I don't think anyone doubted that Livy had good players in that squad. Marvin Bartley with a goal at the weekend. And I think a lot of people said it was his best performance of the season. So,
oh dearie me, how's he gonna jump?
Well, listen, I'm very much a fan of second chances, and he's taking.
Oh, I'm a fan of second chances. What he done is not the worst thing in the world.
No, he's got his second chance. I would love to see him get the job because he's done a really good job in the last couple of weeks. So fair play to him.
Fair play to him. And we've got a couple more. One more game to cover, and Hibs getting the business done. Motherwell for me this season.
Big result for Hibs.
Motherwell are gash, man. They really are.
They are, yeah. They're
this season. They've not been hitting any form of. They've not got any luck. First
but I think gash is a bit harsh. I think because of how well they did last season.
I know. I guess
Motherwell's
sort of standard is to be at one of those teams. There's no.
I don't think in terms of Motherwell as a club they're underperforming that much.
Yeah,
I just think they overperformed so much last season. So
nice to see McGinn get a goal.
Stephen McGinn. What is it that McGinn scored for Hibs now? Paul McGinn's got a few recently. Stephen McGinn's now getting a goal. So now Mrs McGinn's 3 sons have all scored for Hibernian. That's fantastic.
Yep.
They've all played and scored for Hibs and St Mirren. That's remarkable.
I know, Paisley club. But
John McGinn now just needs to sign for Dundee, I think, and then they'll also play and score for Dundee as well.
They'll end up at Villa, watch this. But one thing I want to touch on, and it kind of comes back to Celtic, do they go for Martin Boyle in January after scoring at the weekend? Do you think Martin Boyle will be a good addition to the Celtic
Yes, I think he would be a good addition to the Celtic squad.
If they don't see
Martin Boyle, yes, he'd be a good addition to Celtic, but if they don't seem to have the money to go out and get a top coach, they're not going to have money to spend on players like Martin Boyle, I wouldn't have thought.
No, they are not. Just to clarify, what pot are Scotland in for the viewers?
3.
So we're nearly there. We'll find out soon.
Just try to see. Oh no, I thought Italy got John England's.
So that does the Premiership this weekend. It was an interesting one to say the least. But once again, the agony piles on for Celtic, and Rangers are not even halfway.
How are we talking about Rangers and Celtic again? We're talking about Hibs and Motherwell.
I'm just wrapping up the Premiership. We're done.
We're done with Hibs, are we?
Well, I don't know.
Christian Doidge back off the bench, scoring a goal. Good for him.
We'll move on to the Championship. We'll try to keep good time here. We'll try to keep good time. Plus, you've got a podcast you're on to record, man.
Yep.
So now let's move on to the Championship, and we'll start with your side because I thought it was an intriguing game because I predicted it 100% correct. I said a 2-2 draw, and it was a 2-2 draw. David, you were there, fill us in. Sounded like a right proper like Sky Sports thing there, like that. We've got Chris Kamara over there. Fill us in, Chris.
I don't know, Jeff. Yeah, it was a fantastic game of football, a wonderful game of football, great advert for the Championship. Shame it wasn't on the telly, to be honest, because it was a top game. Rovers are a really good side.
I'm surprised about that, man. Why did they pick Queen of the South and Inverness?
It's BBC, so it's not really for profit anyway. They kind of split them up.
True.
Wraith are a really good side. You know, I know they've had great results, but I was so impressed with them at the weekend. Their midfield is fantastic. Guys like Matthews, Regan Hendry, Dylan Tate in there do really, really well. The big boy Dooku up front is such a threat. And they were deservedly 2-0 up, and I don't think they probably deserved to win the game, if I'm perfectly honest. Dunfermline's defending for the first goal was just the most amateur stuff I've seen in a long time. They've got this big, like 6'4" centre forward, and he's just completely unmarked. Heads it is saved, and then he goes and wins the second ball as well. Just dreadful defending. Second goal, another set piece. Dreadful defending, but
which is more of a throwback to last season, if anything. With the dreadful defending.
Yeah. Well, there's been some signs of a couple of individual mistakes this year, but we've kind of
got a lot better in the front.
Of course. But then Dunfermline in 2 minutes they go and get 2 goals. So I think in Stevie Crawford's second game was a Fife derby. We get beat 3-0 down there. And I think it's telling that the progression of the squad under him that we go and call that back. So, listen, for the spirited fight back, Dunfermline absolutely probably, you could argue, deserved a point, but I think Rovers are the better team of the 90. I'm happy enough that we have kept the unbeaten run alive.
That's it. And you've got to keep that.
Yeah, and I'll be dissecting that game big time.
Exactly. So make sure you go check out Pals Talk on the Buick YouTube channel. It always sounds better coming from me.
England have got Poland in their group.
Nice. Lewandowski.
Belgium, Wales.
Pick for the new one, you'd like to think. Dundee or Broth will head there because it was a bit of a stinker and there's not much to say.
Dundee, man.
Paul McGowan, get him back at Celtic.
Big guys, he gets him fighting the team anyway. Dundee needed that one desperately. Not pretty, just like Dundee. I mean, look at Charlie Adams, hardly the most pretty of guys.
James McPake,
but yeah, Dundee are just so average, man, and they're not gonna challenge.
Look at that. You see that? Yeah.
It's the worst thing about having a TV in the background and chatting about. Stop acknowledging the TV. It shouldn't be there.
It's David Marshall.
I know, David Marshall. Dundee just dreadful. But they got to win, and they'll probably get the playoffs just because their squad in terms of individuals is too good. But they're another team whose manager I don't think is up to it. And I think that'll. I did predict him first in the sack race this year, and it might still happen. Has there been any managerial sackings?
Yeah, Mark Wilson.
Wilson. Gary Holt obviously left.
Gary Holt leaving Livy, and I think that's about it. I think
that is quite bizarre, isn't it?
For December, very bizarre.
Very bizarre. Anyone forgetting about.
Usually, I think normally November is the biggest.
November, December, you kind of get.
That's where they usually go.
I mean, that's probably a sign of COVID, isn't it? The finances.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's not. Let's be honest. If Celtic are hesitant to sack a manager because of financial implications, then I'm sure the rest of the country will be even worse.
Put all that Arbroath in a bit of a pickle. They need to get some results soon. I think they could be in real trouble again.
3-0 Inverness. Kai Kennedy gets in the score sheet.
Kai Kennedy, fantastic. He's flying. So many young players at Inverness doing really well. Kai Kennedy, Roddy McGregor, Dan Mackay. They're really, really exciting. John Robertson, I think, is the best manager in the Championship. So
you said that so many.
I think he's brilliant.
I can't believe you're backing him over.
And he keeps. Stevie's a young coach who's only had a couple of years manager. John Robertson continually makes young teams and teams with scarce resources do really, really well. So fair play to Inverness. Again, we'll be thereabouts. Queens, as Arbroath, are in real trouble this season.
Talk about good young managers. Let's head over to Robbie Nielsen's Hearts. Beat Greenock Morton 2-0. Hopkins still under some pressure because the results are not flying.
David Hopkins will always be under pressure for the turgid football he plays. But
Jamie Walker gets a double. He's doing really well.
Great player, no doubt about his ability. Too injury prone, I think, it's kind of cost him the last couple of years, but no doubt about Jamie Walker's ability. Important result for Hearts to grind that out. Very important because if they'd drop more points there, Robbie Nielsen would have been under some early season pressure he doesn't need. So, fair play to Hearts for dragging that out.
How do you think Dundee United would have done?
Hearts have been certainly on top. So.
How do you think Dundee United would have done this season if Robbie Nielsen was still in charge? Do you think they would have been better off, or do you think Mickey Mellon is better suited for that position?
Probably slightly better off.
Do you think so?
Yeah, just because the lack of a transition. You don't need. He knows the players. It's his squad. They know what to expect from. Whereas I think the first couple of weeks of Mickey Mellon, we saw an initial boost, but then after that it tailed off a little bit. There'll be obviously a few teething issues in the training ground in terms of changing styles of play, styles of training, and all the rest of it. So it wouldn't be that big a difference though. And
the final game in the Championship at the weekend was Alloa 0, Ayr 2. Peter Grant once again suffering at the hands of a better opposition, but it is another loss at the end of the day, and they are not started the season pretty at all.
Yeah, big win for the Super. It was quite telling the weekend. All the sort of teams that are pushing for playoffs and stuff all won, so that was kind of the final Wraith is obviously a draw, but none of them slipped up really big time this weekend. So it's going to be a really interesting fight for the playoffs this season, and Ayr will be a team who'll be thereabouts. Alloa, I think the bottom three is really nailed on in the league this year. Alloa, Arbroath and Queens.
It's really the league is starting to kind of show its
you're getting a pass in there.
Sort of thing.
But I do think Alloa are going to stay up.
Nice. Well, championships covered. It was a very good weekend in terms of goals scored and such. Entertaining. As always.
Tell you what, I've missed laughing about Partick Thistle. Missed it.
Did
Brian
you see?
Graham,
did
man.
you see it? Oh,
You know what? I feel a bit bad for Brian Graham.
Oh,
Scotland. Oh,
that's not bad. I'll take that. I'll take
Scotland's
that.
group for the World Cup.
Not
Denmark
the World Cup, for the
World Cup qualifiers. Denmark, Austria, and Scotland.
That's not bad. I take that. I'll take that.
Oh, that's a very decent group.
Denmark are a good side.
Austria are also a good side, but you've missed the.
You've missed the big.
There's no big guns
in there. You've missed
there.
your Italy's. You've missed your France. You've missed your
Wow,
England.
what a group for Scotland that
That's
is.
a really good draw for Scotland in terms of what we could have had.
Denmark with the dream out of pot one. So.
Yeah. And Austria isn't too bad because Austria aren't quite as good as what they were a couple of years ago.
Having an Alaba bit in it. That's
that's
the
the big one.
I hope he's Austrian, not Swiss.
Yeah, it's Austrian.
Yeah.
But that's the big hitter there for Austria. But apart from that, you've got Arnautovic and such. You've got decent.
You look
players.
at like England, Poland. You wouldn't know what. You'd rather what we've got than them two. So
yeah, I mean, guess Hungary was in the opposition. So do you know what?
Top two go through.
We'll come through. Top two go through.
Yeah. So we'll review all that at the end of the show.
We'll come at the end of the show. But right now, all you need to know is Denmark hanging. But Partick Thistle, my God.
Yeah, Brian Graham's been like dragging Thistle through in recent weeks, scoring plenty of goals. It's a decent save from Dubrovsky for the penalty. I don't know what he's doing with the rebound though. He's just going to tap it in.
Yeah.
It's easier that than a ball rolling on the ground because you've just got to meet it and tap it in, and he's just blazed it over the bar. I just don't understand it. I know he's leaning back, but bizarre. Thistle dropping points again. Great weekend for Falkirk because Cove obviously getting beat, and Falkirk went home to Peterhead. So Falkirk are starting to show that they might be the top dogs to the title.
Ian McCall's comments after the match?
I did not know.
He said since he's been back at Firhill, that's the best they've played football wise. They just couldn't score.
I do think that in recent weeks they've had a real upturn. Thistle fans have been saying
really positive looking over the past few weeks.
Yeah.
And I guess there is a story in that game that says, yes, they did play well, but I guess sums everything up. If that's the best football they're playing, and yet they can't take these chances.
But I mean that happens. It's like what I said earlier on about how good Celtic teams have had bad results before, where you create loads of chances, just not your day.
No,
and I think that penalty miss is just an example of how it just wasn't their day.
Anyway, we'll move on because your opposition, your rivals,
Falkirk. Yeah, I mean I tipped them for the title at the start of the season. I think they will win the title. Good win for them again at home.
Salmon scoring once more.
Yep, absolute prolific goal machine of a player.
Of the game.
Yeah, fantastic little player. Remember when he was at Thistle and he got the Pizza Express boxes man match? His face was tripping him. Fantastic. But yeah, Falkirk, fair play to them. Peterhead again.
Airdrie's going down. Airdrie now, he's 5-2 Airdrie now.
Airdrie going down, but they're currently sitting in the promotion playoff places, but we'll leave that there.
You know it's a joke at this point. But a 2-0 win
like
for
most
East
things you say on this show. 2-0 win for East Fife.
You'll find in the first 6 months or the first 4 months of this show, I was the one that was speaking absolute knowledgeable.
I don't think it was like I was speaking. I made one bad claim, but I think a lot of people thought that at the time.
Do you know what annoys me? We didn't have an audience enough for you to get outraged about you to get an outraged comment.
But it wasn't outrageous though.
It was.
What, when Rangers were top of the league to say they were going to win the league? How's that outrageous?
I guess looking back on it. But how was it outrageous?
What was outrageous was that they capitulated. That's not my fault.
But what was outrageous was at the start of the season, the Celtics they got to win the league this year, and I looked the fool. But do you want to leave it in the past because do you know what, that was the first episode.
Great result for Dan Young's East Fife.
Yeah, see what you think about it. I'm sorry if I'm.
I really want to talk about East Fife.
We'll talk about East Fife in a minute, but this is a crazy fact and it's quite cute at the same time. We're approaching the 1 year anniversary.
We are approaching it. We are about a month away, aren't we?
It's mad. This is how it's just flew in. Granted, about 6 or 7 of those months were spent Zoom calling it from end to end in the country. But East Fife, go on.
Yeah, so a great weekend for former Dunfermline men in charge of clubs down there. East Fife, Dan Young's East Fife. Good win for them, but I want to talk about Montrose. I love Montrose. Stuart Petrie, what a Dunfermline legend, Stuart Petrie. Dunfermline Hall of Famer. And he went to Cove. Yeah, we do have a Hall. I think it's only like a recent thing.
Like the WWE ceremony.
but Stuart Petrie's in there. Once we go fair, I'll show you why Stuart Petrie's in the Hall of Fame.
Wait to see you, like,
Saturdays,
wait to see you doing what happened to Bret Hart. You running and tackling somebody to run it in an award ceremony. You know what happened to Big Bret?
I'm just going to ignore that. The Cove, I think that might be one of Cove's first. It might be their first home league defeat this season.
I think so. I think about
and Montrose have done really well. They've punched above their weight for years now, and I think they are going to have a good season. And I'm really happy for Stuart Petrie. Lovely badge.
But I'm surprised in terms of. I wanted to actually speak about this game a wee bit. I'm surprised that Cove have slipped up here. Being at home, I thought it was a game that would kind of, because of course last week they didn't have the best result either.
To be fair, so I mean Montrose 2 shots on target, 2 goals. So you can't really.
I would have thought to myself that Cove would have kind of bounced back in this game. and they haven't. But it's obviously it's going to be the story of the league season.
Again, we kind of forget they're a newly promoted
You've
side.
also got to remember in League One, I feel like it's no matter who you are, first, last,
It's
whatever,
tough.
it's hard to string together results. And when you do lose, it is a familiar tale that you see these teams go on to lose a couple, maybe 2-3 in a row, because it's a tough rut to
I
get.
think that League One is probably the league in the country where the gap between the teams at the bottom and teams at the top is the smallest.
Yep.
Teams in that league can constantly take points off each other. And we do forget Clover newly promoted just because how well it's been doing. So they're still having a very, very good start to the season.
And finally, we'll fly through League Two because we're going to get on.
Poor old Brecon again, so close but yet so far.
Cheers for taking my gig there. I was meant to ask you. No, I was a good looking game to be fair, because I thought there was going to be goals. Not as many goals as I expected, but it was a win for Steady.
Oh, you're having a fucking laugh.
No chance.
I'm fed up with this lot. Israel have just been drawn in
That's
Scotland's
controversial. That you can't say that.
Oh, anti-Semite over here.
It's got Israel again.
Jesus Christ.
Again. How many times?
Surely Near Beaton must qualify for a Scotland cap at this rate. You put so many international games.
Just how I don't know.
So we've got to play them twice next year.
At least we know we can beat them.
No, but we won't. We'll probably draw with them because we keep doing that.
Oh, it was not what I wanted to see.
The only thing
becoming the new old enemy. I see.
The only thing before this draw that I wanted was not Israel. I just didn't want Israel. I'm so fed up. It's like when we used to play Lithuania all the time, but it was never as bad as this. We play this lot every second month. It feels like. And you know what's going to happen, right? Well, be the final game. We'll get Israel at home, and it'll be for like 4 qualifications for the Euros, and it'll just be horrible.
Steady 2, Brecon 1. We'll move on.
Poor old Michael Payton. Brecon. I really want them to stay up. A good goal for Barry Trialist. Good to see him on the score sheet.
It's a good name, man. Like,
Barry
see, every
Trialist.
time I see go check the scores.
It's a proud day for Mr. and Mrs. Trialist.
See, because every time I go to look at the scores in the League 2 and it comes up Trialist, I think like, oh, is that like an actual Trialist who's scored? But of course, it's not. It's Mr. Trialist. And we'll move on to Annan in Edinburgh. Like,
What are you talking about?
Like, right, so like, see when I go to check the code result, like on the app, on my One Football app, and I go to check it, and like I scroll through all the games, and it comes up Trialist, 45th minute or whatever. Like, I think to myself, it's an actual Trialist who has scored the
It is
goal.
an actual Trialist that scored the goal.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was somebody's name. Is it an actual Trialist? I thought it was somebody's name. I thought it was somebody's name. I thought it was just unlucky.
I just feel so sorry for Brecon because I really want them to stay up, but they're not going to do it.
I feel so sorry for Brecon when the only player that can score for him somebody Trialist.
Yeah.
Really? Are you following my finger?
Ah, yeah, it was an actual Trialist.
Was it?
Yes.
Well, because it says B Trialist, I thought his first name was.
Well, maybe no, because they had 2 Trialists playing. That's why
right, right.
it was A Trialist and B Trialist.
Ah, right.
See what I've got to work with here. It's a joke at this point.
That's what you go. You need that though. You need that. You need a wee bit of that.
I can't believe you actually explained yourself.
What is it Neil
Stupid
Lennon? Neil Lennon said yesterday. You need a wee bit of pizzazz.
Exciting. It was exciting.
It was exciting, you know. We're just lacking a bit of pizzazz, you know.
I know it's not strictly Neil.
And in no Edinburgh 4, nothing to say. We expected that Edinburgh to go and win the game, I would say.
Where are you now? You always just when we get to League 2, you start leading just leave me to do League 2. Edinburgh City 5, Albion Rovers 2. It's a joke at this point. Just leave me to do the lower leagues, right?
Running gag, mate.
Edinburgh flying, yeah. A team that will be up near the top. A good weekend for all the teams up near the top. Elgin with a win at Annan also. But Queen's Park are really now starting to really, get themselves in a run. Simon Murray scored again. Grant Gillespie scored, who obviously played for AR last season in the Championship. Yes, on you go.
Just want to say very good, Big Simon. I think he's coming into his own.
Good character.
But in all genuine serious, nice to see Peter Grant score as well. But
rolling back the years.
But Simon Murray is, it's crazy how good he is. He's not
far too good for that level
all the time, but it's crazy. And ultimately, Queen's Park are just solidifying
to win the league, and
every
they're finally
single
finding
week
their groove.
to go and do it. So
yes, fair play to Queen's Park. Obviously,
Elgin as well. Let me go back to my hosting gig because I've got it right now. Sorry, I was looking at it's because it's like the way it's laid out. Stranraer to Stirling to really nothing to say. That is one of those ones, isn't it?
Stirling having a decent season though, and they'll be in the promotion playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see how they can do. Stranraer, who obviously relegated from League One, that gag's died, and we overused it in the first in season 1 of the podcast. We overused that gag. They were obviously relegated from League One last year, but they were pretty turgid last year, and they're kind of mid-table this season.
And now over to Edinburgh. Well, they did, yes, win by a pumping. I was just looking at the wrong pumping.
Yeah, so I agree.
Albion Rovers put to the sword really, but you've got players scoring goals. Liam Henderson with 3, Craig Thompson with 2. The team are once again solidifying themselves as another one who are contenders to be up there come the end of the season. I think Queen's Park will have too much for them come the end of the season, but it is a really positive result for Edinburgh.
Well, Queen's have now got 4 points clear.
Won back-to-back games because of course they lost back-to-back games, which put them in a bit of a rut. And I honestly was looking at it and I was thinking to myself, can they get back to that position we've seen them in last season where they were constantly challenging Cove week in, week out to see who'd win that league? I thought they would have slipped away from that this season off the back of those 2 losses, but they've now won 2 in a row. They're now heading up to the top of the table again, and they've got a tough ask ahead of them because they're still 5 points behind, or 6 points behind I think, Queen's Park, but they're getting there.
Similar form cost them last season though. When Cove kept winning, they would drop the odd points here and there, so yeah, we'll be there. So we've got the Faroe Islands are the next team out in Scotland's group, so yeah, another team we've never played them before either, have we? No, we play them all the time also, so I think that might be. There, is that the group?
Do you know, I only found out the other day where the Faroe Islands are. It took me by
just
complete
north,
shock. Complete shock.
Way up there.
I thought it was one of the wee kind of Mediterranean things.
It's closer to Scotland than yeah, it's not that far away really.
No, it's not at all. No. I only found out the other day. I thought it was an ace at joke.
Kevin Kyle's Scotland debut when we drew 2 each.
And finally, Russell Dingwall got the only goal as Elgin City beat Ann Athletic 1-0. Yeah. What is up to say? What is up to say?
Top 3 could have pulled away in that league.
So you shat yourself last week, and you didn't come on for the quiz.
Just thought we needed to spice things up a bit.
No, you did not. You just had to catch up on a bit of work that you left behind. So
well, that's the whole point with Moldova. So we can now finally run through Scotland's completed group. We'll do that quickly before you do your wee segment there. Denmark, Austria, Scotland, Israel, the Faroe Islands, and Moldova. That is a wonderful group.
That is a nice group.
A wonderful group.
Or Steve Clark's Tartan Army heading to the World Cup, David.
And with that group, there's every chance, and that's all we need is a chance. And you've also got to remember by the time these qualifiers, I think they start. Do they start before or just after the Euros? I can't really. Probably before the Euros, I think. So anyway, we're going to be further down the road of the progression of this national team. They're going to be a stronger, better unit. And I'm really looking forward to it. That's a great group. The only downside is Israel because we're playing them all the time. But as you said, we know we can beat them. And yeah, we just got to finish in the top 2 of that group, and then there's every chance we do that. So yeah, great group. And we'll probably, as the qualifiers get going, we'll do a lot more coverage on that. So yeah,
nice, very well put, David. Very well put. I echo everything you say. I'm very happy with that. But we'll go back to the point that was brought up just a moment ago by myself. You ran away from the quiz, but you make a valid point. We're going to get to the point where I suppose me and you will not be on the show every single week. But I want to ask you very quickly, because you missed out last week, I feel like it's only nice to give you a wee teaser like we gave Carl.
Oh, nice.
So you can have some time to think. But we've got a good question here, once again provided by the folks over at the halftime teaser. Super Squad. It's a good one though. I like using this one because it's good. It's variety. I
hate these things. So you got to use like multiple bits of knowledge to combine the answer.
Second one though, right? You want it? You ready?
Yeah, go.
And if you want, we can come back to it after the Instagram question, so you can have a little bit of a think. Since 1980, 6 people have permanently managed either side of the Old Firm and won a top flight league title in another country. Can you name the 6? So 6 managers across the Old Firm team since the year 1980 have managed the Old Firm side, but also won a top flight over in another country. Can you name the 6 of them?
Dick Advocaat's
Dick Advocaat's one. There you go. Good start.
Couldn't hope for a better start.
Took Callum a wee bit of time to get cooking.
A top flight.
I'd give him a lot.
Top flight trophy.
Top flight. A league title.
Okay.
In another country.
Okay, right. So since 1980. Wow. Okay, right. I'll keep thinking about that. Well, but
keep thinking about it.
So we'll head over
to the questions left.
We'll start with Twitter first.
Read my question out.
How much more must I endure? I think there's only one man that can answer that. It's Peter Lawell, and he won't answer it because why would he? Right. Let's start with Aaron Smith, who said, which of these immortals would win? I love this question. Which of these immortals would win in a fight to the death? Neil Lennon Celtic tenure or Hamilton Academical?
Have you ever seen the fight on Mustafa in episode 3 of Star Wars?
No. Oh, well, remind me.
Obi-Wan and Anakin on Mustafa.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, amazing.
That I think is on record.
Right, okay, so who has the high ground?
Who has the high ground? That's a good question.
That's a very good question.
That's a good question.
Is it Big Chipper and all his...
Mate, it's just, I'm just thinking Brian Rice and Neil Lennon standing, who is winning that sword fight?
Big Chipper. Big Chipper must have a much bigger sword than Neil Lennon.
So the reason they call him Big Chipper. But what I was going to say is I think that's on record as the longest sword fight in cinematic history. So I think, that sums it up perfectly. But the person with the high...
So who would be most likely to try it? Don't try it, Anakin. I think Lennon would be most likely to try it.
You know what? It's the winner has got to be Brian Rice, because Brian Rice would be delivering the line that was, "You were the chosen one, Neil." Yeah. They said you would destroy it. That works. Perfect. That works.
Yeah, okay, so
Big
Hamilton. Well, it wasn't. The question was Hamilton, but Big Chipper will do.
Big Chipper will do.
Where are we? Callum McKenzie, not Callum McKenzie.
Not the real Callum McKenzie.
Apologies, Callum McKenzie, you asked the question. This is a question that we're not going to answer today. We're going to leave for a separate video. How many, if any, Celtic players do you think?
Do we have to actually make that video?
Oh, we absolutely have to make that video. I'm going to get Dev on for that one as well.
I cannot sit in the presence of you and him while we remake that video.
Why not? Why not?
Because there's no conversation to be had, man.
Yes, there is.
No, there's not.
Yes, there is.
No, there is not. There is no conversation.
Celtic have got a much better squad than Rangers. Is that not common knowledge?
Well, call it like Griffiths, but there's genuinely no conversation to have there right now at this moment in time. It's all well and good me saying it on paper that we have a better team in certain areas, but we're not showing it. Rangers right now have a better squad.
I'm going to answer another. Well, I'm not going to answer another question. I'm going to bring light to another question that we'll do in a separate video, which may be a bit more of a fun video.
Is that Israel Scotland video?
Matthew Wilson asks, "What's your Scottish Premiership team this season?" Now we'll do this at the halfway point. Across the whole league, because it will take a little bit of thinking. That video.
Take a lot of thinking. How many Celtic players may get in that?
Devil probably should read out the Rangers 11. Aldo McNaught asks a couple of questions. He also asked who gets in the Rangers team from Celtic, which we're not answering just now.
I hate that, man. I hate that.
Do you think Rangers will top their group tomorrow night? Thursday night, whenever it goes out? Left Poznan away. They've got to win to top it.
Probably.
Yeah, I think they probably will also. He says, "P.S. David, give Ryan a cuddle." Yeah, no chance. And TSF's class gives us a big shout out as always. Love the propaganda over there. Would you walk if you were Neil Lennon? Question for all. So that's just a question for me and you. Would I walk if I was Neil Lennon? What's he on? 50 grand a week?
£2.5 million a year.
Yeah, no chance.
I wouldn't walk. I would simply allow the fans to cave my knees into the point I'd have to crawl away from the job.
I'd probably like. Don't know. Nah, no chance. This is what everyone forgets. You get that money pumped in your bank, you're not leaving a job. Because and the thing is, if Lennon leaves his job, he's never getting money like that again in his career. Like, what would his next job be? I mean,
punditry.
Yeah, he's not going to get a top managerial job again after this.
So you shouldn't have got this one in the first place.
Yes, I know. Well, he did. So, would you walk if you were Neil Lennon?
As I said, I would simply allow the Celtic fans to destroy my kneecaps to the point of crawling away from the job.
I don't know how to pronounce this guy. Oh yeah, Aidan. Well, I know how to pronounce this guy's name. Aidan Drennan, who always comments, but he's changed his Twitter handle to Lennon out ASAP, which is quite interesting. Where would Dunfermline finish in the Premiership? They would finish second bottom.
Second bottom?
Aye.
In the Premiership?
Yeah.
Are you mad?
Aye.
Oh, you're such a pessimist, man.
No, the jump's bigger than you think, I think.
I would go for...
We're a team that's very new in our development.
Let me play your card here.
We're very new in our development.
Let me play your card. I think they would finish third bottom.
Okay, fair enough. We're better than Hamilton. On our day we could beat a lot of them, but we're a very young side, and it's the first phase of our development. We're just performing above probably where we should be.
The Celtic Colts won the Glasgow Cup?
Yes, I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any more questions to fire in?
Lewis, is the league over? Yes, he's not answering that just now. We'll save that for a big video where we can milk the views a little bit more. And then I'm going to jump over to Instagram quickly. So the teaser, since 1980, someone who's managed both sides of the old farm.
Oh, back over to the question.
Top flight in any other country.
Top flight in any other country. There has been 6 men. You've started off well with the answer of Dick Advocat, but can you get the rest, David Buick?
Top flight.
Top flight in another country. 6 names.
It's not Brendan Rodgers.
It's not Brendan Rodgers because.
But see, my knowledge of Celtic managers in the 80s and.
So I'll give you a clue. You've got one so far who is probably the biggest name out of them all. I'll give you one clue. 2 are far more modern than the rest.
Ronnie Dyler.
Ronnie Dyler's correct.
Of course.
One.
And the other one would be Pedro Caixinha.
Pedro Caixinha, correct. So you're halfway there.
Amazing managers.
3 out of the 6 that you have got. By the way, Ronnie Dyler 10 times a man.
How many did Callum get, incidentally?
Well, without clues, he got 1 out of 8.
With clues, how many did you get?
7, I think. 7.
7 out of 6. You told me there was 6.
7 out of 8.
Oh, was there 8?
Aye. There's 6 in this.
What do you mean there's 6 in this?
This one that you're doing, there's 6.
So it's a different question.
It's a different question.
Okay, right, fair enough.
He done a different question. His question was, I'll tell you his question after the show. I thought you listened to the last show. He's not even watching his own product.
What can I say? I'm a busy man. That's just a lie.
As in Saturday.
Yes.
So have you gave up? I'm guessing the other 3.
Yeah. Well, I'll come back to it again in a little bit because we've got Instagram questions here as well.
Oh,
well, loads of questions this week. Carson McCoy asks, do you think Lennon will ever actually go? No, he'll be there forever. He's never leaving, and his carcass will be there when he dies, just in the dugout with a snuff in his pocket.
Trachea the cops.
Yeah. The reason we'll know he's not there anymore is when we don't see him breathing in the cold air because he just stops breathing. He's just he's gonna be just defiant till the end.
Nice.
She also asked, do we see Celtic getting out of the mess they're in and winning 10 in a row? No.
The question again, sorry?
Do you see Celtic getting out of the mess they're in and winning 10 in a row? No, I don't.
No, not anytime soon.
Why did everything fall apart when Johnny Hayes left? Coincidence?
Why? I know! Why, man? Why did it fall apart after Johnny Hayes left? Simple, he left.
It's Speedy asked, do you think Celtic will spend a lot in January? No.
Fraser Forster's coming home.
Yes, but I don't think they'll spend a lot in January. If they're not going to spend money to replace a manager, they're not going to spend money.
Forster will be in that 6-month loan.
The biggest disaster would be if they kept Lennon and backed him in January. That would be just an absolute disaster. Michael McKenna asks, as a Celtic fan, I fear for the future, not just this season. Could Rangers now go on a run of dominating? Yes, they could do that. Absolutely. They've got the foundations for a run of a good few years at the top, I think.
No comment.
Jer since 1872, I wonder who he supports, asks, is the league over?
Yes. The year that Kilmarnock were founded.
What's your prediction for the World Cup qualifying group? Well, we've got the people. I've had a few questions like this where people have asked me to predict things that there's no logic behind.
If I could predict
a draw,
if I could predict that, trust me, and with confidence, I'd be down the.
Someone else asked about could I predict who do I think Rangers are getting in the last 32 of the Europa League? So fuck am I supposed to do that? That's just bizarre. A lot of these questions are the same. Are the board?
What they don't know is this is actually a crystal ball.
Yeah. Are the board deluded? Yes.
I'll tell you what, they must think I've got a fucking crystal ball because apparently I was daft for saying Celtic would win the fucking league this year.
You were daft, obviously, in hindsight. So was I, but anyway.
Aye, but as I said, it's not a fucking crystal ball.
Is Ryan a candidate for the job? It doesn't say what job. You might be getting a transfer at Morrison's.
That was a completely different question. It was getting asked there.
Yeah, just shut up.
But am I a candidate for the job?
What job? Is it Morrison's? Is it you asked?
Stop being a wido.
Well, that's your job. It's your experience.
Celtic job.
Oh right, okay. What are they looking for? Someone to sell pies or something?
Get your pies.
No, you would definitely do a worse job than Neil Lennon's doing. So
you think?
Yes, definitely.
Do you actually think?
Oh, you do an awful job.
Have you seen my Football Manager track record?
Oh, it's just yeah.
Did you watch the self-isolation save?
I think I'd do alright.
Piss off!
I think first thing I'd do is...
the first thing I'd do...
Okay, that's the question I'm asking. What's the first thing
I'd do? The first thing I'd do is I'd stand in front of the main stand. I'd get a microphone and say, right, when Tommy Burns said to me, he said, Brian, when you're the leader of Celtic, you're the leader of the man, the leader of the people. That's how I'd start it off.
You'd say something like Stevie Woods came up on your first day. There's no clothes on.
Not my baby son.
I don't know if you want me.
I don't know if you want me here.
And you'd say, Stevie 2's outside, boy. Yeah.
Stevie, as long as I'm here. Yeah. That's the first thing.
And that's it. All the questions are basically just slagging off the Celtic board. Stodge55 is just asked, again, I wonder who he supports. Can Rangers...
55, is that not the one that always clips me on TikTok?
Yeah, probably. But he's given... Yeah, listen, you should fire him a wee cut or something, because the clicks you're getting off the back of that boy is unbelievable. Fair play to him. Can Rangers win the Europa League?
No.
Yeah.
You're not actually saying yeah, are you? I reckon they're a really good team.
I say this every time we get questions that say things like can and could. Of course they could do it. But,
they wouldn't, but realistically
from now on, if you're putting questions in, ask will Rangers win the Europa League? Because that's opinionated.
Yes, could they?
Of course they could.
Yes,
the camera's died again.
But they will not win the Europa League.
Camera's died again.
Well, has it? Well, we'll just keep going. I'm going to, because I was in the middle of a nice wee rant there. I'm just going to keep it playing. So basically, yes, they could, as you've said. Yes, evidently they could, because they're a very good team, they're very good in Europa League. But they do not have the players, the squad, and the financial ability.
Sorry, just
can I finish my point?
On you go. It's a great question. The great question that's just come in.
Right, but they do not have the capabilities to match the Real Madrid are going to be in the tournament. Can they beat Real Madrid?
Yes, of course they can. If Shakhtar can.
Shakhtar's a good.
I know, but if Rangers are playing Shakhtar tomorrow, would you say they could?
They're really good.
But would you say? Yeah, but so are Porto, so are Benfica, so are Braga.
I've said that yes, they could, but will they know?
But You just said they couldn't beat Real Madrid.
They couldn't beat Real Madrid.
Right, but Shakhtar can. Could Rangers beat Shakhtar?
No, I don't think so.
Yes, they could.
No, they couldn't.
Are Shakhtar that much better than Benfica, Porto, Braga?
Yes, evidently, because one's in the Champions League and the other's in the Europa League.
But then Ferencváros in the Champions League and Rangers aren't. But Rangers are better side than Ferencváros. So
the Ferencváros had a very good run, to be fair, in the qualifiers.
No, they didn't. They beat some absolutely deady teams on the way through.
That's what I'm saying. They've got to bet that because they beat Celtic first of all, and then they beat.
But then that just ruins your argument about them being in the Champions League.
Okay,
right, Gary with loads of numbers after his name, just called Gary. Maybe it's like.
Can I? Also, before you go any further with this very good question, I am sorry.
Cracking question.
Can I very, very, very quickly add before people clip me saying Rangers can't win the Europa League? I do believe you are a good team, and I think you've done very well in the Europa League this season. I just don't think that you will win the Europa League. That is all. Thank you. If they win the Europa League now, I am going to top myself.
Yeah. Gary asks, this is a great question. Ryan, do you think Big Shane Duffy can play in goals? For 50 grand a week, he fucking should play in goals, I tell you. Did Barkas do anything on Sunday apart from put the ball at the net? No, because that's all he's good at. I tell you what, he does it very well though. He's very gracious the way he picks that ball out of the net. He's an expert at it, in fact. Deary me, he's got a game for Fort William at that rate. And I think that's just about it. Let me just quick.
I am in misery.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
3 other managers since the year 1980.
Oh right, 3 other managers since 1980. The next one's like older then.
Yeah, a bit older, a bit not to the point where you're in your books, but oh my god,
I've no idea. How many were Rangers? How many were Celtic?
So we have the 3 remaining that you need. We have 1 Celtic, 2 Rangers.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to think. Oh, Graham Souness.
No. Not since the. I don't know. It's just not an answer. Sorry, what am I saying to it? It's 2 Celtic. Sorry, I'm talking nonsense. It's 2 Celtic and. I'm
just trying. Graham Souness probably hasn't won a league title in that.
2 Celtic, 1 Rangers.
I've no idea.
Sorry, I think that'll be a shame for saying that a minute ago. So you want the answers given to you?
Yes.
Okay, the first one of Rangers Football Club is Paul Le Guen.
Oh yes.
Paul Le Guen is the correct answer. And the 2 for Celtic that we have in front of me here. Number 1, Joe Venglos.
Oh, of course.
And finally the last one, which is one I don't think you would have got. I think this is one just you still won't go, of course. And if you do say, of course, I think you're lying. David Hay is the other one.
I would have got that.
Would you think so? Yeah. Would you? Of course, former Motherwell manager as well.
No, I wouldn't have got that. I'm talking shit.
David Hay is the other one, and that brings the 6 to a close. It's Pedro Caixinha, Paul Le Guen, Dick Advocat.
Right. What was Callum's question?
Callum's question was since the season 2016-17, there have been 8 players who have played for Celtic who have also at some stage of their career played for a former European Cup / Champions League winning side. Who are the 8?
I've no idea.
I'll run through them very quickly for you. So the ones that
I mean, I would have, but I've not got time to spend on.
They originally advertised 7 on the Super Scoreboard, so I stopped playing at 7. It wasn't until the end they went, oh by the way it was 8. So out of the 7 that
Kolo Touré.
Kolo Touré's one, yes, correct. The 2 that I never got were Sadi Yanko. He's actually played for 4 Champions League.
Man United, obviously. So
Man United, Porto.
How would you not have got Sadi Yanko? I would have got that.
Because he only played
Tyler
once.
Blackett, was he before that?
No, he was before because Sadi Yanko only played once, and it was the Lincoln Red Imps game. That was it. Then he was off.
So Jeremy Tolyan.
Tolyan was one. The other one I never got was Charlie Musonda. Completely forgot he played for us. Then you have Scott Sinclair, who played for Aston Villa and Chelsea. Doris De Vries.
Man City won the Champions League.
Doris De Vries, who played for Nottingham Forest.
Oh, yeah, of course.
We had. I knew it's all slipping away from me. Now I try and think back to it.
It's not that important, really, is it?
It's not. We covered it in the last show. I don't want to hear the same old stuff. But David, anything to add to the show before we go off the air? Because there is a little trip calling my name and a £3 pizza. Sorry, not even £3. That's offensive. A £1.50 pizza calling my name from the fridge.
Good though, aren't they?
They're alright,
yeah, for £1.50.
Not bad.
I just can't be arsed with Israel. I'm going to get the Jeremy Corbyn treatment here, aren't I?
Nah, you've offered yourself a good few clips.
Oh my god, see that got clipped, that'd be worse than anything. That'll be almost as bad as your Hitler stuff.
I was about to say, at least I've got 2 segments in this show now. Deary me.
I almost want that to be clipped. I like a bit of controversy. No, I don't actually, I would cry.
You would cry. Mate, you can barely handle, they come down after
like Scotland have played, we've played Lithuania loads, Georgia loads, but never to this extent. Like every international break we're playing Israel just now. And the games are always pretty boring as well, apart from one Forrest got a hat-trick in.
CJ replied to my tweet earlier about being the number 30 trending video.
Yeah.
Trending on YouTube and the Kerry Fail. Unreal consistency.
Yeah, I have to say, Kerry Fail are producing some magnificent content. What was the one on the Kerry Fail about
Did you see the
win
one
10 in a row next year?
No, that one was good. Did you see the one today?
Take the money off the family, yeah. Very
Oh
good.
mate,
very good.
Fantastic, yeah, fantastic. But aye, have you got anything to add before they do go off?
Nah, I don't think so.
Is that the camera just died? I think the camera's just died, so we're doing the last part. Audio
Does that
only.
actually? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's run out of battery, so we're doing the last part audio only here.
That's good. Ryan, why are you undressing? That's it, pretty much.
Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you on Friday with Callum, hopefully, and we will be discussing the Europa League and the weekend preview also. And hopefully by then they'll be sad.
And we're also going to do some FM content over the next few weeks because I might be incommunicado.
You're going to be doing the Peters and Lee.
What's
you
that?
don't get that. Peters and Lee, very famous song from the 1960s, Welcome Home, by Peters and Lee. Did you know Peters was blind?
No.
Fantastic way to end the show. David, thank you as always.
So are the viewers just now. That's quite nice actually.
Oh. Right, see you all next time.
Cheerio.